Hello everyone and welcome back to Coach Craig's Sports. Today is Saturday, May 21st, and this is the MLB DFS video for today. So in this video we'll be doing a quick little recap of yesterday's picks, seeing how they turned out, talking about my core plays for today for the FanDuel main slate, and then taking a look at my article over at WeBetATS.com when it comes to top stacks for the FanDuel main slate as well. But without further ado, we'll get started with a recap of yesterday's picks. We're going to start off with Martin Perez, $8,900 at that pitcher position. Got 52 points, complete game shutout for him yesterday, so he was awesome. He was a hit. He was the top overall pitcher on the slate. And like the contest I was in, he was only like 1 to 2% ownership. So if you had him, you had a big leverage on the field right away. Then at first base or second base, just depending on where you played him, Ty France, $3,400. He got to 9 points, so I did give him a hit. If you're getting 9 points or more, you're a hit in my book. Definitely a guy that didn't hurt us yesterday. Then we had Kike Hernandez at $2,800. Got to 15.2 points, so he was a hit as well. So obviously I had Eduardo Escobar in the early core. That game did not end up being played yesterday. So I said you could play Eugenio Suarez or Trevor Story. Trevor Story was $3,400. Got to 29.2 points, so he was a hit. He was the second overall second baseman on the slate, and technically he would have been the second overall shortstop as well. The only guy that beat him out at both those positions yesterday was Jake Cronenworth. Then if you went with the Eugenio Suarez option, he was $3,000, so the exact same price tag as Eduardo Escobar. And he got to 9.2 points, so he was a hit as well. And then last but not least from our core was Cole Calhoun, $2,200. He got to 18.7 points, so he was a hit. Ended up hitting a home run yesterday, and he was the fifth overall outfielder on this slate. So pretty good core, obviously, since everything was a hit yesterday, even our replacements for Eduardo Escobar. So really good day overall. Hopefully you guys had just as much success as I did yesterday. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to the core picks for today. So we're going to start off with the pitcher position and Joe Ryan. So there's a couple different pitchers I considered today. You could pay all the way up for Justin Verlander. You could pay down a little bit to Michael Lorenzen. Joe Ryan was just kind of in that sweet spot in the middle. Going against Kansas City Royals. Offense, not too much of a threat there. Joe Ryan's pitched rather well so far this season, averaging about 33 fantasy points per game. There's a couple of rough starts in there, but should be pretty solid once again today. Then we're going to stack him with one of his teammates here in Luis Arraez, $2,600, averaging over 8 fantasy points per game on the season. Goes against the Kansas City Royals tonight in Brad Keller, who he is 5 for 8 versus in his career. So there's a little bit of upside there. If he hits in that 2 spot, could be a little bit more upside, a couple more at-bats as well. Then we move down to third base with Anthony Rendon, $3,100, averaging 9.6 fantasy points per game on this season. Goes against the Oakland A's tonight. Frankie Montas is pitching. He's kind of a guy that's a wild card. You never know what you're going to get with Frankie Montas. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Last time versus the Angels, it was decent. It wasn't over the top good. It wasn't over the top bad or anything else like that. A lot of strikeouts, but not too much else. So Anthony Rendon is a guy that has hit him very well in the past, 5 for 11 versus him. So I do like the upside that is there tonight with him as well. And then we do move down to the outfield and Shohei Ohtani with another Angels hitter, $3,900, averaging just under 12 fantasy points per game on the season. Obviously, we know he can go off and have a big night at any point in time. He's 8 for 20 with 3 home runs versus Frankie Montas in his career, so it should be a pretty favorable matchup for him overall. Then last but not least, we have Hunter Renfroe, $3,000, starting to swing the bat a little bit better, averaging just under 10 fantasy points per game on the season. Pretty reasonable price tag. Goes against Patrick Corbin tonight, who has been one of the worst pitchers in all of baseball so far this season. Should be a pretty favorable advantage for Hunter Renfroe and these Milwaukee hitters. He is 5 for 16 versus Patrick Corbin in his career with 2 home runs, so definitely offers a ton of upside as well. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have listed here, you have $13,300 remaining, just over $3,300 per player. You could potentially pay up for another option. It is a 5-game slate, so there are a little bit more limited options today than on a typical day, but definitely find ways to get creative. You could stack some other Twins. Max Kepler's a guy that does have pretty good history versus Brad Keller as well with a couple home runs. Not a lot of history out there today, and a lot of guys that really popped off when I was doing my research last night, though. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my article over at WeBetATS.com and talk about the top stacks for today's slate. So I'm going to start off with the Los Angeles Angels. Pretty obvious here. I talked about some of these guys having good history versus Frankie Montas. Mike Trout and Jared Walsh are kind of the two that don't. But Jared Walsh has been pretty hot as of late, and Mike Trout can pretty much have a monster day on any given night because he's one of the best players in all of baseball. So not too worried about that by any means. And if you don't get the good Frankie Montas, it could be a potential blowout overall. Then we have the Milwaukee Brewers, pretty obvious here, going against Patrick Corbin, who's been one of the worst pitchers in all of baseball this year. And the Brewers have hit left-handed pitchers pretty well in the past and early on this season, so don't have any concerns there. And then last but not least, we have the Astros going against Jon Gray and the Texas Rangers. He kind of has mixed history versus a lot of these hitters, but still like the upside of this Astros lineup going against Jon Gray, who's not the greatest pitcher in the world by any means in a favorable environment. But with that being said, these are my core picks as well as top GPP stacks for today, May 21st. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to leave them down in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play on tonight's slate. Maybe somebody from my core 5, maybe somebody from my top GPP stacks, or maybe a completely different player that you guys think I missed. Definitely interested in hearing what you have to say. But with that being said, if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers. Helping you with your DFS, whether it's MLB like in this video, do daily MLB DFS videos. Typically do the weekly USFL DFS video. I did post a thread on Twitter and in the community tab on my YouTube page. So if you guys are looking for the USFL DFS, that's where you're going to find all the information for that. Or if you haven't played already at all and you just want to check it out, definitely feel free to do so as well. And then with that being said, if you are a newer current subscriber who's yet to do so, also be sure to hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. Like I've been saying, I post up daily MLB DFS videos just like this. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And then last but not least, special little shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.